The office building was nearly silent, its glass walls reflecting the glow of the city beyond. The hum of traffic far below was faint, almost like background music to the stillness inside. Under the soft overhead lights, Marcus moved with quiet purpose, a cloth in one hand, a small trash bag in the other. He was a man in his mid-40s, his shoulders slightly stooped from years of labor, yet there was a gentleness in the way he worked. His tired eyes hinted at long days and longer nights, but a faint, warm smile lingered on his lips. He hummed a low, steady tune, something soulful, almost like a lullaby, filling the empty space with life only he seemed to notice. During the day, this place was a hive of energy, phones ringing, voices overlapping, keyboards clattering. But Marcus was invisible then, a shadow who arrived when the world turned its back. Tonight, though, was different. Someone else was here. Claire, the CEO, sat behind her sleek desk, surrounded by the soft glow of her computer screen. She had been buried in numbers and emails when she noticed him, really noticed him, for the first time. His movements were unhurried, almost graceful, and there was something strangely comforting in the way he went about his work. She found herself watching him longer than she meant to, feeling an unexpected curiosity rise within her. For reasons she couldn't explain, she felt the urge to speak to him, as if some invisible thread had connected them in that quiet, ordinary moment. The hum of the vacuum faded into silence as Marcus switched it off, coiling the cord neatly over his arm. Claire glanced up from her laptop, her fingers hovering above the keyboard. It was late, later than she'd realized, and the soft pools of light from the desk lamps gave the office a strangely intimate feel. She cleared her throat, almost surprising herself with the sound. "How long have you worked here?" she asked, her voice cutting gently through the quiet. Marcus looked up, a little startled, before a polite smile formed. 8 years, he replied simply. The answer caught her off guard. 8 years. She had been in this corner office for 3 of them, and yet she had never once exchanged more than a passing nod with him. The thought made her uncomfortable in a way she couldn't quite name. She leaned back in her chair, studying him. 8 years is a long time, she said. Marcus shrugged slightly, his eyes kind but guarded. He spoke in an even tone, telling her about his life, raising 2 kids alone after his wife passed away, working nights so he could be there in the mornings to make them breakfast. There was no bitterness in his words, only quiet resilience. Claire found herself listening more intently than she had to any business pitch that week. She could see the weariness in his face, but also a steady determination that stirred something deep within her, something she hadn't felt in a long time, genuine human connection. Marcus paused in his work, leaning briefly against the handle of his cleaning cart as the moonlight spilled through the wide glass windows. The city stretched endlessly beyond, lights winking like tiny stars against the dark. Claire had closed her laptop now, the numbers and emails forgotten, her full attention drawn to the man who had always been part of the background but suddenly seemed to hold an entire world within him. He spoke more freely now, perhaps because the late hour felt safe, perhaps because no one else was there to listen. "I always dreamed of having my own business," he admitted with a small, almost embarrassed laugh. "A cleaning company, nothing fancy, but something that's mine." His eyes shifted toward the window as though picturing it, yet his tone carried the heaviness of dreams kept too far out of reach. "But I don't have the savings, and I wouldn't know where to start. So I just keep doing what I know." Claire watched him carefully. There was no self-pity in his voice, only a quiet acceptance, the kind that comes from years of putting others first. She noticed the way his fingers tightened slightly on the cart handle, the flicker of longing that passed over his face before he hit it with another polite smile. It struck her deeply, this man wasn't just cleaning her office, he was holding on to a dream that had been waiting patiently in the shadows. Something inside her shifted, a faint but insistent pull to do more than simply listen. Marcus was nearly finished for the night, methodically placing the last wastebasket back in its spot. The office felt even quieter now, the air heavy with the unspoken weight of their conversation. Claire sat at her desk, her pen resting idly between her fingers, her mind no longer on quarterly reports or looming deadlines. Instead, she was replaying his words, his years of service, his devotion to his children, the dream he spoke of so softly it could almost have been mistaken for a passing thought. As he pushed his cart toward the door, she found herself speaking before she had fully decided to. "Marcus," she called gently. He stopped, turning toward her with a polite, questioning look. Claire hesitated for just a breath, her heart beating faster than it should. "Do you think we could start right here?" The words hung in the air, unfamiliar and bold. Marcus blinked, unsure if he had heard her correctly. She leaned forward, her voice steady now. "What if this building, my company, was your first client? What if we got your business off the ground, together?" He didn't move at first, his hands frozen on the cart handle, his eyes wide. A dozen emotions crossed his face. Confusion, disbelief, hope, fear. Finally, his lips parted, but no words came. He swallowed hard, blinking quickly as though trying to hold back the tide. In that moment, under the dim lights of the quiet office, Marcus realized she wasn't offering him charity, she was offering him a beginning. 2 months later, the office was alive with the usual hum of morning activity, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, the low murmur of voices discussing projects over steaming cups of coffee. But this morning, something was different. The glass doors slid open, and Marcus walked in, not in his faded janitor's uniform, but in a crisp navy shirt embroidered with gold lettering, Henderson Cleaning Services, owner, Marcus Henderson. His posture was taller, his steps more assured, though his familiar warm smile remained. Claire met him in the lobby, extending her hand with a proud grin. "Everyone, this is Marcus," she announced, her voice carrying over the chatter. "He's not just here to clean. He's here as the owner of our new contracted cleaning company." Heads turned, and a small ripple of applause spread through the room. Marcus shook her hand firmly, glancing briefly at the reflection in the polished glass walls. It was the same city skyline he'd seen countless nights while working alone, but today it looked different, brighter, closer somehow. His thoughts flickered to his children at home, the look on their faces when he first showed them the business cards with his name on them. As he stepped forward to begin his first official day as a business owner, he felt a quiet certainty settle in his chest. He had started right here, in the very place where he'd once been invisible. Now, every corner of the office seemed to echo a single truth: one conversation can change everything.